The College Football Experience Week 10 reaction show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up, and when you do, sign up with that promo code TCE SGPN. You get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. Yes. Also, hop on over to Rhythm, because we're brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football in the NFL with Rhythm. Get your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm.
Hey, this is Bill Romanowski. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes. Woo! Welcome to the College Football Experience Week 10 reaction show. It's been fantastic. It's been it's been up and down. Early on, I thought I was having a shitty day. It's been everywhere. It's been everywhere, scattered, but I've had some fire plays. I'm up on the night because of a couple money lines that cashed. We're going to talk about it all. YouTube.com/the college experience. Get on over there, hit that like and subscribe button. And hopefully you got that bonus SGP college basketball episode we did a couple hours ago. As that season tips off in 2 days here. So subscribe to the college basketball experience as well, because every single game will be talked about over there. Every single game in the entire season. So hop on over there and check that out. You're probably wondering who the hell you're listening to. Yes. My name is Colby Swig at Database Dad, aka Pick Todd D. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink, and I don't have stress, and I'm healthy.
Yes. What a day. Good luck picking 12 teams.
Yeah.
Good luck picking 12 teams. You better need some extra games added on here. It was bonkers today. Big time comebacks, then to get blown out again.
Yep. Several league races opening wide, several others closing tight.
Yeah,
a lot of developments today.
Just absolutely insane. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Let's get it going. Let's go.
Yeah, fantastic day of football. Start to finish.
Yes.
A little bit disappointed we don't have an after dark slate. Is this the only week of the season there is no after dark?
Yeah, I mean,
Colorado's not playing, so there you go. You can't have an after dark slate without Colorado.
They do need to figure that out, though. I mean, this is, I guess, I know a lot of teams are on bye this week, but come on. This is why Long Beach State, I couldn't, I didn't think we'd open the episode like this, but hey, Long Beach State, Cal State Fullerton, UC Irvine, Pacific University, UC San Diego, all those schools have the money and resources to do that. Yeah. And they don't realize that. See, they let the football program go away in like 1990, before like cable TV had really, DirecTV hadn't even existed. And now you have this whole thing with you could be so much more valuable now if you just, had your football programs. They would be so much more valuable because of the time slot. It's almost, it's classic.
I looked at like the largest enrollment of schools that don't have Division I or any football team at all.
It's like
UC
Irvine,
4 or 5 of them are California.
Yeah. Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous.
In Southern California, it's like, dude, there's so much money. There's so much talent. You know, there's so many people.
Fullerton had a stadium built for them like a year before they got rid of their football program. Classic California economics over there. But yeah, I mean, they need to, because there needs to be more games, especially now. There's even more value knowing that like USC and UCLA are playing all these Big Ten games now. It's Stanford and Cal, so it's like you could reap the benefits of all of this. Yeah, it's really just
I'm sure,
unbelievable. Grand Canyon University, what the fuck are you doing? You're gigantic. You're on the. You're a gold mine. Utah Valley, all these schools should be sitting over there.
UCLA and USC will probably pay you out the ass, you know, just to have a home game. I guess they can get that from other people too, but still, just to be able to have local stuff for them is probably nice. You know, probably helps recruiting. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's just ridiculous when you think of what California a few years ago, probably like 10 years ago.
There's like 45 million Americans, and who knows how many others in California. It makes no mistake.
Population 2024.
It makes no sense.
California, 39 million people in California, and
that we know about,
right? That are registered.
I've worked at restaurants where I was the only legal person. You know what I mean?
One of 20 employees.
As far as I'm concerned, there's 90 million Americans or 90 million human beings in California. Buddy, I know that this is not the way we envisioned we were going to open up the reaction show, but this is why it's part of the fun. And shout out, I did see Whittier College, the Poets, D3. They'll be back and playing college football next year. They've only been playing for 150 years. Occidental, another one. But anyway, buddy, it was a crazy day. I guess we should start with the biggest game, which will then lead us into the conference. I think people have told us feedback that they like the conference by conference thing.
Okay, no chronological thing. Conference by conference is way to go here.
It is, in a way, the biggest game of the day was chronological. It was Ohio State at Penn State, number 4 at number 3, and James and I fell for it bad this year. Other years, I feel like I go, no, I'm not falling for Penn State. This year, though, I thought Ohio State looked like shit to a certain extent for Ohio State standards.
Last week, certainly that was the case.
Not only that, I just thought all year they didn't look. They looked like a team with a lost identity to me.
And they don't look as sharp as they have in the past. That's for sure.
Yeah, and then you were sitting here now. Penn State goes up 10-0 in like the first 5 minutes of the game with the pick 6, and you're thinking, I mean, I'm not going to bullshit you. I was sitting there, I'm a fucking genius.
Oh man,
yeah. I was like,
at that point, I was like, Penn State's going to whoop that ass.
Yeah. And Ohio State from that moment on, in my opinion, dominated the game. Pretty much. I understand Penn State had a chance to get back to, at the goal line, and I will shit on the play calling at the goal line, but at the same time, like, Ohio State fumbled a ball out of an end zone. I understand there was an interception the other way. But that was Penn State kind of dropping that pass.
They were very evenly matched teams. Let's be honest. And coming into the game, based on their respective rankings, both top 5 defenses, both I think top 10 offenses, but similar, very questionable quarterbacks that have good games and bad games. They are kind of mirror image programs, and that's what we saw today. But Ohio State, I mean, it came down to a yard. It came down to a damn yard at the end of the game. And I
still felt like Ohio State was the better team.
They were the better team.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, a couple, like, if that fumble, because I believe on the drive that Ohio State fumbled, I could be wrong on this. Correct me, chat, or you, Colby, if you know off the top of your head, that where the fumble got overturned, that ended up being a scoring drive for Ohio State, right?
Here's where I'm confused. That because it's overturned, even though they didn't clarify to me like what the actual call on the field was.
Yeah, well, it was a catch and a fumble. That was the call on the field.
So they overturned that.
They overturned it, which
I have a huge problem with that then, because I don't think that was conclusive. I thought in real time, personally though, I'm with Klatt. I thought it was incomplete, but
yeah, I thought it was an incomplete pass.
Yeah.
But by new rules, by old rules, that would have certainly been a catch. But it's new rules, so I thought it was a drop. I agree with the ultimate decision, but I will say that the fact that Mike Pereira, the rule specialist,
he's fucking useless.
He was like, I don't know what the rule is. We're like, wait, you are the rule specialist,
dude. Look, I respect the fact that he does the real kickoff in the UFL and not that candy ass NFL kickoff, but / XFL kickoff. But what is the point of going to him? Like, I hate it. It's just like, he's like, your guess is as good as mine. Back to you at the old studio there. You know what I mean? And it's like,
he's all hammered.
Dude, I had the quad box going. I'm at my parents' house right now, and it's like, so I don't even have like the sweetest TV setup, but I'm still sitting there and I'm like, wait, I'm seeing him on like 3 different games within like a 10-minute stretch. And he's basically said he had no idea for all 3 of the calls that they went to him.
Well, there's that. There's the fucking the step over. I see that every game.
That was ridiculous. That call was, now, like I said, I still think
not 2 minutes before that. Not 2 minutes before that, I saw Duke running back truck the Miami defensive back, literally get up, shove him back down on the ground, and step over top of him. No flag, and it's just like, dude, this is number 3 versus number 4, and this is 3rd and 11, and that's
was ridiculous, and that led to points too. That led to points. Led to points. Like, don't get me wrong, Ohio State I still thought was the better team, but that call was ridiculous. I don't care what level of football you're at. That call was ridiculous.
Penn State has a little bit of a reason to be upset ultimately by the way the calls and everything shook out. I think that Penn State is as good a team, and maybe they should have won, but I do think that Ohio State, the pick 6, you got to give Penn State credit for that. But outside of that, defensive touchdown, I do think you're right. Ohio State offensively,
I think Ohio State was the better team.
Outperformed them, yeah.
Shout out to their offensive line. They've been called out even by the great Pick Dundee. But that was impressive. They in the 4th quarter, they to me were the difference in the game. That and the goal line stand, and Kotelnicki, who part of my handicap was I thought he would be an issue for Ohio State. Definitely not the case. I was surprised there. I thought that play calling was horrible on all 4 plays. I thought
I didn't think it was great, but I do think I mentioned this to you over text. I thought the execution was bad. If you're going to send the offensive lineman, put him at receiver and send him in motion, and they're not even really using them as a kick out. They did it
multiple plays.
Yeah, they did it all 3 plays, or 3 out of the 4. Look, and all they would have had to do is get behind him. One play would have been a walk-in. Another play, all they would have had to do is bounce it around him. But they kept running straight into the back of the offensive line.
And I thought they could have ran Aller. I thought Aller had the every single time they did, or not every single time, 3 out of the 4 plays. I thought if Aller had just held onto the ball, he'd walk into the fucking end zone.
You're at the 3-yard line, 1st and goal on the 3. Sneak it 4 times. You'll get in. I
mean, I don't even know. I would have gotten just if you're going to pass to your best player, John Riggins, then you do it. You don't do it on 4th. To me, I would have done it on like 2nd or 1st. But I don't know. I mean, we could all Monday morning quarterback this thing, but it very James Franklin like, I'll say that. And whether it's Anthony Kotelnicki or whoever, it just seems like that's just what happens with the James Franklin team. And you wonder, as much as this is a bad loss, if they don't lose another game, they're going to be in the playoffs. So I don't even understand like that. I guess that's what the downside of this. People say, well, before their season would be over. Well, it is 1 game by 1 yard essentially, or we would have been playing in overtime. I don't think your season should be over.
By the same token, if Ohio State had lost that game, I mean, since Ohio State lost to Oregon, in all likelihood, their season might have been over. Maybe because they're the Ohio State brand, they get into a
So they would
14
get
playoff.
they would get a pass. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, 20-13. I lost a bunch of money there on that, and hey, I can't believe I fell for it though, because I feel like the past couple of years were like, oh no way, Penn State's gonna cover this. No way.
No, I did not fall for it. I know I picked with you on Penn State during the show, but that was more. That was kind of. I thought it was going to be a toss up, and I actually thought, hey, Ohio State will find a way. But I thought maybe the mojo was just enough in Penn State's favor where they get it done. He can't. He'll never get it. Do you think Franklin has it in him to ever get over?
I thought when you texted me saying he's Mark Richt, I thought that's a perfect comparison, because Mark Richt, and I think I was even one when he got fired. I was like, man, I don't know. He's kind of good enough. Like, I mean,
he was right there. He was right there for
like
beating
the SEC
one of the best
game.
Alabama teams ever.
So like, to me, I was like, and then Kirby Smart comes in and I'm like, oh, let me shut the fuck up, because clearly they knew what they were doing. So the question is, Patty C, is James Franklin be coaching Penn State a year from now?
I mean, I feel like yes, because James Franklin is probably going to be a staple in the playoffs, and the tolerance of the Penn State fans for being in the playoffs every year, I think they'll accept that. He's going to have to win a game here and there, and maybe make a deep run once in a while. But as long as he's in the playoff, I think they'll be happy with that.
Yeah. Folks, what I tell you, first off, thanks for listening to the College Football Experience. If you could do us a solid, head over to Spotify, give us a 5-star rating. We'd appreciate it. Only you can help prevent corporate gambling from taking over. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Pick'em has one of the biggest menus for all the sports: NFL, college football, college basketball, MLB, MMA, CFL, NBA, NASCAR, and much, much more. Boost Uber is upon us, which means you're getting a spooky amount of profit boost and much, much more. And you can now use specials and boost on all flexed entries. So hop on over there, sign up. And when you do, sign up with the promo code TCE SGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code TCE SGPN. This chat keeps telling me, I mean, I see a couple, I still think we keep it conference, because let us know though. Let us know.
We can change it up. One episode we go chronological. One episode.
There you go. You just never know with old Dundee and Patty C. All right.
That's right. We keep them guessing.
Never know when you're going to get an old tuck job. Well, Northwestern 26, Purdue 20.
There's apparently a good game that I watched 0% of.
Overtime, and Northwestern moves to 4-5.
I did see what happened at the end. I feel like Northwestern caught a break in overtime and took advantage of it. I forget exactly what it was. Obviously, they scored the touchdown to get the win. But what did Purdue miss a field goal? What happened there at the end there?
In overtime, I believe Northwestern scored and Purdue didn't, and that's what happened. Okay. So the Wildcats go to 4-5. Purdue goes to 1-7. Ryan Walters. I got my dog behind me. I don't know what the hell he's doing. Shout out to Mighty Waters, his birthday today. But big win for Northwestern. Here's the one. I knew this game stunk, and that's the one thing that stood out to me today. The games that stunk, we should have parlayed them. Minnesota was a 3-point favorite at Illinois, and I'll never know why. I mean, Minnesota got the game-winning touchdown with 5 minutes left in the game. Before that, you're thinking, hey, Illinois got. I mean, I don't know if you're thinking they got this, but you think it's a classic Illinois-Minnesota game. Illinois at home. Maybe they can find a way to figure this out. Minnesota adds a field goal late to make it an 8-point win. Here's what's hilarious about a Saturday with me is there's so many bets throughout the season that pay off, even though. So I'm betting Illini +3. I think I got it at even 3.5. Right.
Nice.
But I cashed on Minnesota over 4.5 wins. So it's like, oh, you end up betting so much that you're just sitting there like it sucked for the game.
You lose one, you win another.
Yeah. I'm like, I wish Minnesota would have done it next week, but 25-17. Minnesota goes to 5-3. Big loss for the Illini. They're going to surely be out of the top 25.
6-3 for Minnesota.
Yeah, 6-3. I'm sorry.
And
6-3 now. Yeah, dude, he's always money when they're projected to be ass.
Yeah,
they're good. And when he's it's similar to Matt Campbell and stuff. Big win there, and that pretty much
similar to who's at Iowa? Ferentz. Basically, that anyone in that portion of the country does not do well with expectations, but exceeds being slept on.
Yeah. Ben saying I'm Benedict. It's tough, dude. You have so many bets going. It is a tricky thing to sometimes finesse. All right. Oregon, Michigan. Dan Lanning certainly knew the number here. And I bet Michigan, and he scored when he really didn't need to. It's kind of a dickhead move with 25 seconds left, scored a touchdown. But here's my question. Could you fund your NIL collective off covering the spread? I was thinking about this today. If your boosters bet on you and you haven't, your boosters make up your NIL collective.
Are you suggesting there's some foul play here, Cole?
No, I'm suggesting that's just normal. Like if you're the head coach, why aren't all your head coaches going for this? Because then it's going to make your boosters richer and they're more likely to donate to your NIL.
Oh, I absolutely think if you're a coach, you should be cognizant of the spread in a game because a lot of your fan base, probably cares largely whether you win or lose, but also cares whether you cover the spread.
Well, that's what I'm saying. In a way, like if you're a new school or a broke school, why couldn't you just say, hey, take out a big loan and just say and tell the team like we're going to cover 90% of our games this year.
I mean, that's cheating. Yes. But
how's that cheating?
Well, it's
gambling. Legalized gambling. No, but I'm saying you just say
to
your collective. No, you go to your collective and you say it like your collective's like, man, we don't have much money. And it's like, well, if you put up a bunch of money, I will be covering the spread. No one's going to know you had that fucking conversation.
I see what you're saying, but that is the definition of point shaving.
Not if they're doing it to win. Like,
well, that's what I say. If you can cover the fucking spread, but then again, you can cheat that way too. You can cheat to cover the spread.
Well, did Oregon cheat today? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Why does that touchdown make any sense? It's 31-14 with 25 seconds left.
Are they low class? Look, I heard, several. I thought maybe it was a college game day guy saying you can't hate Dan Lanning. You got to love what he's doing. I don't know who it was that was saying that, but he seems to have a little bit of that Kirby Smart thing where he's maybe a bit of an asshole, maybe runs up the score when he has the opportunity, but that's the sign of a coach that wants to win and win big. That's a championship coach.
Or he knows Phil Knight's got $3 million riding on the game.
That's true. But when you think back, Bobby Bowden would run up the fucking score. Urban Meyer against Oregon in the national championship.
Shit. Yeah.
Spurrier would run up the score. Anyone who wants to win big doesn't give a fuck about class. Now, Nick Saban got so damn good at it that he could be classy. But other coaches that are hungry, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, shout out to Magic Man Blanco. It could just be the style points. But I would say why wouldn't you?
The number one team in the country probably don't need the style points.
I'm sorry, but if I'm a head coach, I would go to my collective and say, hey, we're going to try to cover every single fucking game. All right. I don't care if there's 10 seconds left. So give me more money. I'm trying to make you more money.
Yeah.
And that I don't think you're breaking the rules at that exact point. So that's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Shocker here. So yeah, believe it or not, I started off with the Big Ten and I did horrible in the fucking Big Ten. Then now the more I think about it, I had Nebraska -6 and I was like, oh, we got this. UCLA comes in there and really just dominated the game. Weren't they? Were they ever? They never trailed. And I had gone back to the beginning here. Someone in the chat says
shout out to Scott Bowser.
Yes,
for giving us a hell of a tip on that one.
Buddy, I know we talked about this last week. I think Nebraska, who has the longest bowl drought, they might have just burned their chance at a bowl. Let me explain. They have 5 wins. We thought the win against UCLA was getting them to 6 and in. Now they're at USC next week, which they could win that game. They're home to Wisconsin. Sure, they could win that game. And then they're at Iowa. But I don't know that would favor them in any of those 3. Maybe the Wisconsin one.
So rattle those off again. It's
at USC.
Nebraska, at USC. That could be a loss.
They won't be favored in that game.
They're probably
home to Wisconsin.
It's probably a loss.
At Iowa.
They might win one. They're not going to beat Iowa on the road, but they might beat
the Wisconsin one
at home.
But we thought the UCLA one was the one that solidified that was the easiest one, and they just ate shit and lost 27-20. That's a huge win for Deshaun Foster. Shout out to Deshaun Foster. I felt like he got
win.
And UCLA, I know they don't know where their university is located, but
it's in LA. In case you didn't know.
That's a huge win though, and man, that's a bad loss. Matt Rule had just said last week. This is what I find hilarious about the sport between Mike Elko and Matt Rule. Matt Rule lost close to Ohio State, but he said in the locker room, he goes, "This was a turning point here. The players bought in. And they fought hard. This was a turning point for our program, despite the outcome."
No. You're actually the same exact team you've been for the last 15 years.
A week later, you lose to UCLA, a shitty UCLA team, who's getting their second Power 5 win on the season. Unbelievable. And I'll say that, man, Deshaun Foster has UCLA ahead of where I thought they would be right now.
What is UCLA? They're kind of off
3-5, but they recently beat Rutgers and Nebraska. And I think they're better than what I thought they would be this year.
Yeah. I mean, you had to figure Deshaun Foster, did he even have coordinator experience before this?
He was a running backs coach.
Yeah. So you never know what you're going to get. Sometimes that works out. Obviously, Shane Beamer, it's taken a few years, but they're rounding into shape. We'll get to that later. But he was like a special teams coach and a position coach for his whole career. Dabo was a position coach. So, you have these, Fran Brown at Syracuse. You have position coaches that you have no idea what they're really bringing to the table. But, sometimes if they have great leadership ability and some unknown, coaching chops, then – yeah, maybe they end up being good coaches.
It dawned on me though doing this that remind me next week not to bet the Big Ten, because I'm sitting there. I never really look at it by conference until we started doing this, but that's after the bets. So I lost on Illinois, I lost on Penn State, I lost on Michigan, I lost on Nebraska. I fired a bet away, Iowa. Dude. No, that's the only one. Old Faithful. Hang on. I took Michigan State. This was a late bet. This was a very late bet this morning. Good God.
I saw the temptation. I don't even know what I did on the show.
Michigan State was up 10-0. I was like, oh, there we go. And then like a fucking cannon was shot off with Kurt Signetti, with his big ass dick in the air, just flying over the Big Ten,
helicopter
all over on 47 unanswered points. What is this? The Broncos Redskins Super Bowl in '87? Right? Good God!
Woo. All right in the chat, appropriately saying JMU West to the playoff. Every time that gets mentioned, I see Indiana fans irate at the thought that, JMU and their players and coach that, came over are somewhat or largely responsible for that Dude, get over it. Yes, you are one of the shittiest football programs ever, and out of the blue, you are completely dominant. I think Indiana might be like a national championship contender right now. Don't look. I'm happy for Indiana, the University of Indiana.
This is great for the sport. It's
let's be
great
honest,
for Indiana.
JMU players have a part in it. I feel like there should be a brotherhood between JMU and Indiana right now, but for whatever reason, the mention of JMU makes Indiana fans irate.
You know what's crazy about this? I know the schedule was favorable. I know they bought out of a Louisville game. That was before Cignetti got there. But what's crazy to me is, like, when I watch the Miami Hurricanes, I say this is a gimmick team that won't last, because the refs have helped them out. They've also just they don't look the part to me. When I watch them, I just go, I
feel like I know what Miami is, and the fact that this year I don't think there's a complete team in college football gives Miami a chance. But against a traditional complete powerhouse, yes, they would lose, and they would lose bad. But this year they happen to. I feel like they're lucking up. Depending on who they play, I think they could beat anyone in the country. Or anyone.
I think they could also lose to anyone in the country. Like they're played. They go look at their schedule. They've played nobody. I mean, Louisville's probably their best win. And you saw what happened to Virginia Tech today. I mean, I guess Louisville or Virginia Tech, and those are both questionable wins.
Then again, you look at what they did to Florida.
But Florida's not any good.
Well, Florida just gave Georgia a hell of a fucking game.
Okay, but that's my point, though. I mean, Florida's a team that also, I wouldn't say they've looked good this year.
No, I agree with you. I think Miami is, if they play a team that's more physical than they are and can match that. I mean, because they aren't a particularly physical team. They do have great quarterback play, although he's prone to, like you pointed out, some questionable decision making. Some team that can capitalize, and that's not just this week. That's every week. He throws over the middle eight, and doesn't pay for it nearly as much as he should. And that's probably ACC competition. But a traditional Alabama team, for instance, or any championship team that's won the championship over the last 15 years would whoop Miami's ass this year. This year's Miami team.
You know what I think would whoop their ass? Iowa.
Iowa just doesn't have an offense. I mean, Iowa's offense did show up today, but
they're better. Miami's defense is ass.
They are ass. That would probably end up being a shootout.
They're a phony fucking team to me, dude. But my point that I was trying to make was, I know Indiana's schedule had breaks, right? There's a reason why I locked up the over. I knew they came into it like they were very similar to Rutgers to me. You looked at both their schedules and you're like, I could actually, for content's sake, really say that they could make a run to the Big Ten championship game. I didn't really believe they would, but I said there's value, there's logic in taking this because the schedule's so nice. However, Indiana has whooped everyone's ass. Like I thought they'd be beating Nebraska,
5-7.
That's what I'm saying, like 20-7. Or UCLA, 21-13. Or Michigan State, which I took Michigan State in the points, and I even thought Indiana would battle and win that game, but they're just fucking up everybody, man. So it's completely different from an eye test point of view. Like from an eye test point of view, you're like, no, they are 1000% legit. I know the schedule isn't amazing, but it's the way they're doing it that you have to buy in my opinion.
Yeah. Again, this is a team that is pretty darn diverse in terms of their attack. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys rushing the ball today. Looks like 7 guys catching the ball today. They spread the ball around. This is actually a team, when you mentioned Miami, I think Indiana would be one of the teams that whoops Miami's ass, because I think they have the skill positions players to keep up with them, and they would be far more diverse.
Discipline too, like and
better coached.
47-10 after being down 10-0. I was like, this is the perfect. They got Michigan on deck. They've had a terrible history with Michigan. This is the loss. Curt Cignetti Not putting up with my bullshit. I didn't bet this game, thankfully, but I would have lost. USC and Washington. Washington 26, USC 21. Hilarious. USC moves to 4-5. Washington 5-4. Dude, I might eat shit on my. So I need. Actually, I'm looking all right still. Washington's.
They got to get 2 more.
Yeah, they're at Penn State. They got at Penn State, home to UCLA, and at Oregon. So I should be good. I should be good on the under 6.5 wins. But it's definitely. I thought they were like 2 or 3 wins off. This is impressive. USC on the other side they're not going to be able to buy him out at $88 million. Right?
No, it's too early. You would think. I mean, and who else could they really go and get? Maybe is Franklin an attractive enough candidate?
Isn't that the same situation you'd be getting?
Yeah, it's the exact same thing. I mean, at least to Franklin's credit, he's always beaten the teams he's supposed to beat, which Lincoln Riley isn't doing right now.
Yeah.
So that's a step in the right direction. But I don't know that they'd be able to go get a prime away from Penn State. And who else could they go get? Maybe Urban Meyer. Didn't they already try that? Who else is out
I think
there?
they tried to. I don't know. I mean, do you take a shot on one of the? See, that's the problem though. Is I feel like not enough people will take shots on coaches. There's a reason why Kurt Cignetti's killing it. Now, yes, the schedule aligned, but some of these, I think some of the coaches just make a lot of sense. You've seen it with the FCS where Leipold was winning for so long. Now I know. I don't think USC would jump on Leipold, but they probably should. You know what I mean?
Probably,
like,
yeah.
They
want USC if history. I mean, aside from Pete Carroll, what is the oldest coach that they've hired since Pete Carroll? I feel like Lane Kiffin was like 30 something.
Yeah, Sark was young. Helton was somewhat young. Yeah.
Yeah, he was in his 40s. I'm pretty sure. So yeah, they want a sexy, who they could go get. Who's the Redskins offensive coordinator right now? Who's just
Kingsbury, who was with USC last year. That would be the same fucking thing, dude.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, yeah,
they're not going to pay $88 million. Lincoln Riley's there next year. I agree with Daniel. Big win for Jed Fish though, and I do think Washington is ahead of where I thought they would be right now, and that's a credit. Jed Fish may be a better coach than I realized. Wisconsin, Old Faithful. I almost went winless in the Big Ten. I mean, if you're counting every game, I got Northwestern and Wisconsin correct. Old Faithful.
Let me tell you what. If this spread was even 1 point more, I would have taken Wisconsin to cover. Well, it was sitting at what? What was it?
2.5, 3.
2.5.
I forget on the show. Yeah.
If it had been 3.5, I would have taken Wisconsin. But I took Iowa because it was 2.5, and what they ended up winning by fucking 32 points. Holy crap!
Wisconsin's nice phony. The chat. Shout out to the chat. They've been kicking ass, talking about all the good stuff out there, and mentioning that Nebraska's 9-33 in 1-score games. But JJ Schmidt, shout out to JJ Schmidt. Colby, you were so right about Fickle. Why didn't I believe you? Wisconsin's going backwards and it's bad. Yeah. I mean, they caught lightning in a bottle for a couple of weeks, but I think a lot of that had to do with the schedule they played. I knew that this was a bad matchup to me. I was on the Sports Grid talking about this game. Was it last night, I think. And they were asking me, why do I like Iowa so much? Well, first, I thought Iowa could win. I didn't think Iowa was going to score 42 points, but I didn't think Wisconsin was going to score much more than 10. I think my prediction might have even been 10. It might have been 13 or 10, but I just thought Wisconsin hasn't been able to throw the ball with the backup quarterback that successfully. They're going to try to do ground and pound, but try to do it in an air raid style, which that will not work against Kirk Ferentz and Phil Parker. And I just thought on the road there, and then they're going to make this kid have to throw the ball more than he's comfortable doing, and they'll lose that game because that cha-cha rushing attack will not work against a Phil Parker defense, in my opinion. You have to be able to throw the pass. If you're going to run that, I think you're going to have to be able to complete the pass and make them fear you in the air.
It's funny because I wonder 29 passing attempts for Wisconsin, 28 rushing attempts. I wonder how frequently, even in the dairy raid, Wisconsin has passed more than they've run. I don't think it's been that frequently, but that's what has to happen when you're down by that many points. So even when Wisconsin is getting completely dominated, they're still trying to commit to the run. But I don't know. You're saying it's a cha-cha-cha running attack that Wisconsin's trying to do. I guess that makes sense out of the dairy raid.
Yeah. It's more so. It's not like they're old. It's like they're running veer and shoot and shit. And Phil Longo, the North Carolina rushing attack. It's more about spacing than it is just anything else.
Pure power.
Iowa had over 400 yards of offense. Patty C. Tim Lester.
The first time for everything.
Getting the offense going. 422 yards of offense. Good Lord. Thank God for Iowa. It's just my consistent winner in the Big Ten.
Still didn't surpass 100 passing yards. Iowa is the greatest football team. Yeah.
They are the greatest. I love them. Folks, going to talk about the SEC next. But before I do that, I want to let you know the college football experience is brought to you by Rhythm. Yes, SGPN's proud partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, props. You can build your own model, or you can copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard. I like to build my own and have it adjust around that. Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and player prop. They also have a slew of stats, research, and trend analysis to give you even more betting insight. Rhythm went 24-3 in their props for the opening night of the NBA action. So claim your free 7-day trial period today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. We're also brought to you by BetUS. Bet with the best in the business. That is BetUS. BetUS has been around for more than 30 years. You can easily deposit using cryptocurrency and get lightning fast payouts. It's just I like the Bears. I'm going to take the Bears tomorrow. How about that? Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/BetUS. Promo code SGPN so they know we sent you. BetUS, America's favorite sports book. All right, we are back, and let's talk a little SEC, Patty C, because Hugh Freeze, he got pissed on for the third time. He's 0 for 3 on Diego Pavia, and Patty C, I know I might not have another window to talk about this, but I can't help that Vandy plays 2 home games against South Carolina and Tennessee. They're at LSU on November 23rd.
That's a hard remaining slate. That's an impossible remaining slate.
Is it impossible? When you look at their losses are a 3-point loss to Missouri where they missed a field goal that would have won it in regular, and then a 3-point loss to Texas. Right?
I'm not saying it's impossible for them to win any of those games. I'm just saying South Carolina, with the way they're playing right now, at LSU, traditionally freaking impossible, and then Tennessee, those are 3 very, very hard games left on their schedule.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, yes, I get your point. They're capable of losing all those, but I don't think LSU is as good as traditional LSU is. And
still,
I think
on the road, that's a tough ass.
Of course.
Spot.
In Baton Rouge, it's always a tough place. But Tennessee's not as good as I thought they would be this year. So
I think the flip side of that is all 3 of those games are winnable.
Yeah, and you can't imagine saying that at the beginning of the year. Or, I know I was on the Vandy over, but I didn't have them being this good. It's
unbelievable. Yeah, this is crazy.
17-7. They go into Auburn. They never trailed in this game. The pisser pissed all over another SEC team. He's what now? 3-0 against the state of Alabama. They just did what they did. They're a better team. I don't understand. We cashed on the points. We cashed on the money line. Vanderbilt has kept me kicking ass this year, to tell you the truth.
What was what were the team stats on that one? That was total yardage. That's crazy. Vandy actually got outgained by 100 yards, but still managed to win by 10 points.
Part of the reason why you gotta like that is, well, the handicap. Auburn is terrible with the ball. Now they only had one turnover today, but Vandy had none, and that's part of it. Is Vanderbilt and Pavia. I know he threw a couple interceptions in the Texas game. One of those was on a 4th down where he was scrambling Fran Tarkenton style and had to get the ball up in the air. Right?
Yeah.
The other interception he threw, so he had 2 that game. One was like a legit interception.
Yeah.
But that was altogether, he's got 3 interceptions on the season. The other one was in the Kentucky game, and that was a freak play off of a helmet. The ball deflected off of a helmet. And so he's really only turned the ball over once on an interception this year, in my opinion. And that's what I mean is like, you're going to get just a team that doesn't beat themselves.
Yeah. They're a ball control.
And they're balanced. Smart. They can be balanced. Yeah. You know, like
convert third downs, keep drives going. They did win the time of possession by 3 minutes, you know. So, and I mean, I guess in certain metrics, they did outperform Auburn, but in the most important one, score wasn't really that close, you know, kind of dominated Auburn. So, yeah.
Auburn moves to 3-6. Remaining games, ULM, A&M, and Bama.
ULM and Bama. Monroe could beat them.
I mean,
A&M should beat them. And Bama will beat them.
I don't know. They rushed. This is karma for the Brian Harsin shit, but I'm saying like 4-8. The fans going to be okay with 4-8?
No, Auburn. They're one of the most psycho fan bases in the whole country.
Yeah, yeah. And
what
then
is this year 2 for Freeze here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they fired Harsin after 2.
Yeah. A third year isn't a guarantee at Auburn.
We cash on that. Vandy dominates. I mean, Ole Miss. What in the fuck? So we find out Trey Harris is not playing, and I'm like, well, I was already liking Arkansas, but I mentioned this on the morning show with Terrell, where I go, why is everybody I talk to on Arkansas? Honestly, like whether it was the chat here, whether it's the people I did, you know, I did a spot on Boston radio this week where the hosts were sitting there saying Arkansas is our favorite player of the week. I did the grid last night and the host there was saying, yeah, Arkansas play. And that's why I was terrified. Even the fucking gas station attendant I was talking to here said like Razorbacks this week is his favorite play. So I was terrified of that, but I had already bet it. So I was like, but then I find out Trey Harris is out and I'm like, yeah, Arkansas is going to roll these guys. Woo! 63-31. And I do believe Ole Miss is phony. I do.
35-10 at half.
Both can be right. We're like, Ole Miss can beat a team like this. It's almost like the Art Briles shit because they ran like. I still believe Ole Miss to be somewhat phony. Both can be right.
I have to look up the stats. I had for the longest time and still largely believe that Tennessee and Ole Miss are kind of mirror images of each other. But this makes me feel like Ole Miss took a step forward. Obviously, the tough job there with Ole Miss winning this game by 32 points and then Arkansas beating Tennessee by 4 suggests that against at least one common opponent, Ole Miss is way better. Ole Miss number 2 nationally in yards per game. Tennessee number 8. I got to get the defensive stats pulled up.
Well, here's the thing. Ole Miss's offense is a lot better than Tennessee's this year because of their experience at the quarterback spots. But I think this is more about Arkansas than it is Ole Miss. Arkansas almost lost to UAB earlier in the year. Right?
Yeah.
And that to me is more about Arkansas. I know Daniel in the chat is saying, is Georgia better? See, Georgia, I think will fuck up Ole Miss.
Georgia's weird. They're Tennessee, by the way, number 4 defensively. Ole Miss number 11. So they're essentially the same fucking team. So why did I understand why everyone would think, yes, all right, if Arkansas could beat Tennessee, then they should at least be able to cover against Ole Miss, if not win outright. And then Ole Miss somehow comes in and absolutely annihilates them. It doesn't make sense. But what was the question there? Tennessee.
As he's saying, is Georgia better than Ole Miss? I would say yes. We see it next. We'll get to see it next week. But that offense has never worked against Georgia. Tennessee runs that same offense. That offense has never worked against Georgia.
Yeah,
And
I would agree. Where is Georgia? But Georgia has been kind of mediocre, but they're sitting at number 20 nationally, Georgia. So it's not like it's a number one defense that they're going against. But I agree with you that for whatever reason, Georgia's defense is well equipped to handle that particular style of offense.
Well, they played Ole Miss last year, I believe, and they also stuck it to Tennessee every year under Heupel.
They're just physical and athletic, and Georgia's defense is very good. I mean, how did Florida get as many points as they did today? I mean, the interceptions by
that's actually the most concerning thing. I think if you're a Georgia, that's a little bit of everything. I think Georgia's definitely not as good as the teams in the past, but still they sit here at 7-1. Depending on where you got that number, you might have lost or you might have pushed. But
they don't have the offensive athletes. Not
only that, even the defense is not as good as usual.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean,
and they're turning the ball over more on offense, and that's a sign that Georgia's not as good at, or perhaps that they are overrated. But I still think Ole Miss Ole Miss is like, to me, if you really want to compare it, it's kind of like Iowa, where you're like Iowa,
but very opposite.
Yes, the complete opposite. But like Iowa's going to be good enough to beat 8 or 9 teams a year. Right, just with the style of play they play.
Yeah.
But when they play the big test, there's no chance.
Yeah. The real team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Iowa might work a team that they can, flex their stylistic advantage on. I.e., physicality against the likes of Wisconsin, which is ironic. But against Ohio State, who has been criticized for their physicality, still they're elite 5-star recruits all over the place. And you just can't beat them up physically. And so Iowa's advantage goes away in that game. Likewise, Ole Miss's advantage of speed and, perimeter, excellence gets negated by Georgia. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think Georgia probably has the tools to stop Ole Miss. That said, if the two teams that showed up today show up next week, if Georgia looks like they did for the first half against Florida today, and Ole Miss looks like they did for the first half against Arkansas, I can see Ole Miss completely whooping Georgia's ass.
Well, this year it's in Oxford, so you got that. But I don't know. I just need to see it. I've seen them fuck up that offense too often to really feel confident about Ole Miss.
To completely buy into that. Yeah.
I think today is. I mean, I'm not trying to take it away from Ole Miss. You score 63 points in a game, but I think some of it is on Arkansas being just a completely fucking random fucking team. Like I said, UAB is terrible. Well, with the exception of today, but UAB almost beat Arkansas. If you watched that game earlier in the year, and you're sitting there like, how's that possible? Well,
Arkansas, again, not necessarily renowned for their athleticism. And like we've said before, Ole Miss, if they can work their system, them working their system isn't them running, instead of getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust, them getting 7 yards in a cloud of dust. That's what happens when Iowa is able to succeed. When Ole Miss is able to succeed, they get fucking 70-yard touchdowns every fucking play.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why those scores look so ridiculous.
Yeah. Maine took on Oklahoma. 59, Maine 14. What a stupid game. Next. UMass playing a conference game on the road in Stark Vegas. They were up 10-0, as they so often do in these conference games.
That was wild. I was genuinely shocked by that result based on how well Mississippi State had played against the likes of obviously Georgia, but man, they Mississippi State turned that around in a hurry.
And Mississippi State wins 45-20 and gets their second win of the season. We're not gonna. I don't need to talk about that. I didn't bet any of those games. I did cash on Kentucky getting a gigantic number against Tennessee, and for a minute there, I thought Kentucky was going to win this game. Yeah. Shout out to Tennessee for making the plays they had to get the dub. And you sit there and say, "Hey, Tennessee is 7-1." This is another one. It was almost like comparing this to Indiana. You saw the schedule and you said Tennessee's schedule is set up for them to make the playoffs. I think I even have got to go through my tickets. I believe I took a future for them to make the playoffs. They're home to Mississippi State next week, who we know is ass. They're at Georgia after that, which I'm sure they'll probably lose. Home to UTEP, who is fucking horrible. I watched them lose to Middle Tennessee because I had money on them. They're probably the worst team in the FBS. Then they're at Vanderbilt. So I mean the road spots of Georgia and Vandy could bite them, but you almost think they're pretty much home.
Get through one, yeah, if they can get to 10-2.
But if we're being honest, do they belong in the top 10?
Who have they beaten? Chattanooga, NC State, Kent State. Those are some of the worst teams in the country. Oklahoma was not that good. They lost to Arkansas. That's a bad loss at this point.
One to Florida in overtime. Yeah.
Yeah. Beating Alabama and Kentucky. Alabama's clearly their best win, but Alabama's not that great this year. Yeah. No, I don't think they have proven enough to be a top 10 team.
When I look at number 7, I'm just like, how the fuck are they number 7? Like, and I'm not trying to shit on Tennessee. Like, they're winning these games. I just don't think they're number 7. It's like Miami at 4. You're just like, and Miami's undefeated, and you're just sitting there like, okay, I mean, they're undefeated, so I guess you gotta rank them, but it's like they don't look good to me.
Yeah. Oh, I'm curious like what next week's AP. Hopefully the AP makes some major adjustments. When does the college football playoff is this coming?
I think this week, right? This week, yeah.
So it'll be interesting if they, because the AP is just stuck in their old ways, and hopefully the college football playoff is a little bit different. But like, where is BYU coming into the week? I feel like they were like number 13 or something.
Iowa State went down some spots after having a bye week, but
Iowa State was 11, so that was a credit to the big because they were undefeated.
Well, no, they dropped.
After winning. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still the fact that SMU just completely annihilated an undefeated Pitt team, and then BYU beat SMU on the road. You would think that BYU, hopefully, if you're looking at it objectively from a resume standpoint without any preconceived notions, if this is your first ranking and you're not beholden to the previous rankings, BYU should be pretty damn far up the list, right?
Yeah,
they should be ahead of Tennessee. They should certainly be ahead of Tennessee.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, their wins are better. Yeah. So I cashed on Kentucky. I cashed on Vandy, which was also on Monday Night Play. 8 shit on Arkansas. But I cashed on the South Carolina Gamecocks. 44-20. Mike Elko, and I love Mike Elko. I'm an Elko guy. This is another game I was conflicted on because I bet Carolina, but I'm like, I need A&M to make the playoffs because I have a future. They still can. No pan. This is their first SEC loss, but they got worked, and he talked that shit. We're a real program. And then 6 days later, you're losing by 24 at Williams-Brice. It was just the spot. It was a great spot. It was a great spot for South Carolina. A big win for Beamer. South Carolina is way better than I thought.
Yeah, exactly. They're just a good team this year.
But, I mean, that puts South Carolina at 5-3. They have that classic Wofford matchup on the 23rd. That should get them bowling no matter what.
They'll probably beat Clemson based on Clemson's performance today. I actually think they whooped the fuck out of Clemson. So pardon the language, but
really,
I think they. Yeah,
pardon the language. No.
Yeah. What is that?
What are you talking about here?
F-bombs are a different level. I'm not drunk enough to be, but the emphasis. When I say whoop the fuck, I mean they blast Clemson based on how how well
they're
South
inconsistent
Carolina,
though. They're inconsistent, man. So, but yeah, they look good today, 44-20. And that team looks good. Like even if they ended up 6-6, I don't think Beamer should be canned. I think it's encouraging. They should have beat LSU. The refs robbed them from that win. Yeah, but I was much better in the SEC than I was in the Big Ten as I ate shit there. Patty C, is it still going to be Georgia, Texas in the SEC championship game?
Georgia, Texas. Who does Texas have left?
They have Kentucky.
No, they're going to lose
Florida.
to A&M. They're going to lose to A&M on the road.
So you got Georgia, A&M.
Well, A&M just lost, so it could be Georgia, Tennessee. But I guess whoever wins that game head to head. But then Georgia would have two conferences. I don't know. It's going to be a little bit of a. If I had to predict right now,
yeah,
it depends on tiebreakers because I do think Texas is going to finish 10-2. I think A&M will probably finish 10-2 with the tiebreaker over Texas. May cost Texas a playoff spot, but they may still sneak in at number 11 or 12. But Tennessee, who else was their other loss to?
Tennessee only has one loss.
Yeah, but it was a conference loss, right? Who'd they lose to?
Arkansas.
Yeah, I don't know what happens from a tiebreaker standpoint between A&M and Tennessee, but whoever wins that tiebreaker will play Georgia. Is my guess.
Yeah, shout out to R. Wright who sent us a tiebreaker calculator. I retweeted that. That was pretty phenomenal there.
All right, by the way, saying recency bias by Patty. I don't agree. Look, I think South Carolina should have beaten LSU. They probably should have beaten Alabama, or at least they played Alabama. I think it's very conceivable that South Carolina could be 7-1 or 8-1.
Wait. I'm going to push back on you and Daniel.
Okay.
They should have lost to Old Dominion to start the season. Old Dominion fumbled inside their own 5-yard line with
True.
like 4 minutes left. So that's what I'm saying is they are inconsistent, and Ole Miss whacks them randomly. So I mean, yes, they have games
randomly. Ole Miss has proven to be a pretty good team, capable of waxing other teams.
Ole Miss also lost to Kentucky at home.
That is, yeah. I mean, it's a clusterfuck. It's a bit of a clusterfuck.
Yeah,
but I think South Carolina is a good team. I think that Clemson has just played a bunch of fucking ACC teams. Okay, I know exactly what Clemson is. We saw what Clemson was against Georgia.
That was a 6-0 game at the half. I mean,
yeah, no, they played Georgia pretty well for a half of football, but Clemson doesn't have the weapons on the outside to open it up against really good defenses, and so they're going to get bogged down against a good defense. Against inferior ACC defenses, yeah, they'll get into the high 40s once they have leverage in the game and the other team starts making desperate plays. Clemson can take advantage of that. But
I'm with R. Wright, though. I would not favor South Carolina at Clemson.
Bet me right now. Me right now.
Done deal.
Game is in Clemson. Game is in Clemson. South Carolina will win that game by more than 7 points.
Oh, we're going to bet on that.
All right, let's just bet a shot right now. I will. 3 shots.
I will.
3 shots.
3 shots on air. Let's go.
It's done.
Anyway, yeah. I mean, I don't know. We could sit there and play this game. To me, that's why it's going to be hard to do a 12-team playoff for this year. It's like,
I bet you a shot too. All right.
There we go. Anyway, so that's the SEC. We went through all the games there. Let's jump over to the ACC that you're just talking about because Jeff Brown did it.
Nice win.
That's my thing is like Louisville, I think is more dangerous than South Carolina against Clemson. Like South Carolina is just going to try to run the ball. And I think Clemson can bottle that up where Louisville, Jeff Brown is to me. I mean, I know that I was higher on them this year. And to be honest, had they recovered had they not gotten fucked by the refs in that SMU game, they would be, I think, the team to make the play or make the ACC championship right now. Sure, they could still
fucking escape UVA,
escape Boston College too. But this is a huge win for Brom. This is their first ever win against Clemson, and dominated this game. They, you know, and shockingly, I had money on Clemson, but that's what Brom can do to you, man. It is like, to me, like, he's a great play caller, and to me, they have multiple ways of beating you.
Well,
and
I will give you that.
That's what I think when I fear. Now, look, I took Clemson today, so obviously I took Clemson today. So me taking Clemson against South Carolina at the end of the year, I could be wrong about that clearly, but I do think Louisville is more dynamic in a way offensively than South Carolina is pretty fucking predictable to me offensively.
Let me pull some stats here. We're going Louisville. Number 10 passing attack in the country, and number 69 rushing attack in the country. Meanwhile, South Carolina, if I can fucking stop being an idiot. Number 109 passing attack in the country.
That's what I'm saying, man. They're like, credit to Beamer. Like, I see the talent there, but I also just
number 66 rushing attack. So
they can run. They can run the ball.
That's not that good though. That's a completely mediocre rushing attack. Lenora Sellers, does add an element that continues to get them first down. See, they do have a good rushing attack, but you're right. I do think that Brom's attack is more balanced and probably presents the likes of Clemson, more trouble.
And I would push back again, Daniel. Vanderbilt is not predictable. They run a triple option. That's the opposite of prediction. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know who is going to do it. I think Vanderbilt's actually incredibly balanced because of that. I think that's one of the things that they have going for them is running a unique offense that no one else in the conference runs.
And the fact, for
yes,
all the potential ball
you
carriers. Cannot
be lazy, and the minute you're lazy, you get beat on something, and they don't turn the ball over. So, I don't think I would not describe Vanderbilt as predictable.
At some point, we have to start respecting what Vanderbilt is actually doing, because they're not doing it with 5-star players.
I've been saying it though. It's Jerry Kill, Tim Beck, the real Tim Beck. Coastal Carolina should have hired, by the way, and Pavia. Like, those three together are difference makers. Pavia can run, and he takes great care of the football, which is half the game of college football, I feel like. And I think he's a real leader. So it's like, and that to me, I'm with team leader here in the chat, where I feel like they're the most balanced team. When you watch them, you don't know. Like, okay, Texas's D-line fucked with Vandy's offensive line the most I'd seen, right? But other than that, I would say, like, Texas kind of got them out of their game plan for a little bit there. I felt like, other than that, I have not seen any SEC team like really fuck with that offense. Even today, I know they didn't put up a ton of offensive yards, but they kind of dictated the pace of the game. Yeah. And there's something to be said for that.
It is weird. 96 passing, 71 rushing for Vandy, and yet 6-3 and beating Alabama.
Never trailed.
Coming within 3 of
Never
Texas.
Trailed in the Alabama game. If you don't turn the ball over, and you can run this offense, which makes you account for everybody, it's how you win games. All right. It's
a lot of teams have slowed the game down and just controlled situational football, and that's what a balanced attack allows you to do.
But that's why it's not predictable. You know what I mean? It's predictable that they're balanced, but you don't know who the fuck is going to get it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So,
and a good coach, like Paul Johnson ran the triple option, and Paul Johnson had run the triple option for so damn long that all you had to do was like move your tackles head up, or, move your defensive tackles to like outside shade or inside shade. And his offensive coordinators are going to pick up on that within a play and start attacking that, and then whatever you're doing, he's run it so many freaking times that the slightest adjustment, he's got the counter to, and he's always, basically a play ahead of you, and it's going to keep working.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been fascinating.
It might be predictable, but you can't stop it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the point, it's predictable that they're running this offense, but the point of the offense is it's not predictable. You know what I mean? In a way, it's like, that's why it's called the triple option. Right. You know what I mean? That they're running out of the gun. back to ACC play. Miami Duke was an insane game. Miami, like the first 5 minutes of the game, was like Miami's going to win this game 56-0.
Yeah.
And then for like the next 15 minutes of football,
Duke.
I felt like Duke was going to destroy them.
Yeah.
As Duke took a 14-point lead or 12-point lead or something. And then Miami stormed all the way back and blew them out and actually covered this game. How the fuck did I lose money on this? This is one where I'm not mad at my play because I'm like, man, we had a double-digit lead with 12 minutes left. You're getting 20 fucking points, and you have a 12 or 11-point lead, whatever it was. This is what's that?
Yeah, 5 touchdowns in a 16-minute span. Ouch.
I feel like we were on the right side. I'll live with this loss. I'm still not buying into Miami being number 5 in the nation. If I had to power rank these, I mean, I guess you got to mark them there because they're undefeated. So I don't have as much of a complaint.
Well, let me tell you what you're having a really hard time, I think, processing about Miami is that they are genuinely very hard to stop offensively.
Sure.
They are a very explosive offense.
What's the best defense they've played, Patty?
Let's take a look.
Is it Virginia Tech?
Here, let me pull numbers. Rattle off the team, and I'll give you the number. Wait,
Florida.
We're going total defense.
Yeah,
Florida.
It's probably that might be their best.
75. Okay.
Florida A&M obviously not in there because they're FCS. Ball State.
Oh yeah, Atlantic. Florida. Ball State.
Yeah.
Ball State 129.
South Florida.
119.
Virginia Tech.
60.
Cal.
26. So that's a decent defense.
Okay, and they should have lost that game. We got robbed by the refs.
They did light their ass up though. With how many points did
39-38, but they shouldn't have scored on that play. So it should have been 32. But Louisville?
Louisville at 33. No, wait, that's Louisiana. Louisville is 62.
Florida State.
I'm sure this is bad. 81.
Duke.
Duke
might be one of the better ones.
32.
Just saying.
Yeah, they haven't played an elite defense yet. So I mean, no, I think who did we say was the highest?
Cal
at 30, 20 something, 28, 30 something in there. Yeah, once they face a real elite defense, they might have some answers for what Miami's doing there. So you're right.
I think part of it is just the defense, and they're like they're an undisciplined team to me too. Like they're just all over the place to me.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, they're undefeated, so I mean, I guess you got to rank them in the top 10, even if I was in charge of.
You know who they remind me of? Colorado. They remind me of Colorado.
I can see that. See that. I'm gonna say Colorado's defense is better though.
Maybe, but either way, they're
yeah.
high upside, but prone to error.
So that was a wild ass game because you had so much crazy shit happening, but then you had Virginia Tech, Syracuse happening when Virginia Tech went up to a 21-3 lead without Kyron Drones.
Gosh, dude,
what?
Schlee made the stupidest decision I've seen all year. At the end of the game, he had the opportunity to at least get down to like the 2-yard line, and he just throws an incomplete pass. Was that in overtime?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, he probably could have run in for a touchdown from like 11 yards out. Decides to throw the ball straight into the ground, puts Virginia Tech in like a third and goal situation from the 11. They don't convert. That's it, Or no, what happens? They get a penalty the next play, and then they fumble the next play after that.
Dude, how do you blow an 18-point lead with how much time left too?
You're the chokies. That's how you do it.
6 minutes left in the third.
Okay, in the third. Yeah.
Syracuse at that point, 6 minutes left in the third. Syracuse scored what? 31 points from that point on. Unfucking believable. Unfucking believable. Colin Schlee. He was that dude. That game could matter. Especially
dude, it could matter Dude, that is going to keep Virginia Tech out of the ACC championship game.
Did SMU solidify the playoff or the ACC championship game today?
Yes. I mean, do they lock it? I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, think about this. Clemson, so Virginia Tech loses. They play Clemson next week. Right?
Yeah. They get them at home.
Duke loses to Miami. So that pretty much kicks out Duke for good, right? Duke's gone.
Well, that's is that Duke's first conference loss or is
no? Because they lost to SMU last week.
Wait, they lost to SMU. Oh shit, Duke's
in overtime.
Duke's
yes,
gone. Yeah.
Duke's officially done. But Syracuse hosts Miami the final game of the season, right?
How many conference losses does Cuse have now?
2.
They're gonna need some help.
But with Clemson losing,
well, Miami's undefeated and
Pitt lost today.
SMU's undefeated. So both of those teams probably have to lose twice for anyone else.
SMU's schedule is so easy. That's what I'm saying. The ACC is done.
Yeah,
it's
Miami SMU versus Miami.
SMU.
But if SMU goes into the ACC championship game 11-1, which it sounds like, who's left on their schedule?
SMU's.
Yeah,
Boston College, Virginia, and Cal.
Wait, all right, Virginia's on the road, but Boston
no, the
College
rest are in Dallas.
Boston College and Cal.
Yeah. They're gonna go 11-1.
They'll probably go 11-1, and 11-2 should put them in the playoffs. So yeah, I would say Miami and Cal are your ACC representatives for the.
Well, and this is my point.
Or not Miami and Cal, Miami and SMU rather.
This is exactly my point, Patty C.
Yeah.
That if you put East Carolina in the ACC and SEC, they'd be a 10-win team. You know.
No, I don't know.
I'm being a fucking asshole, but my point is look, an AAC team comes right up.
Mm-hmm.
Year 1.
Oh, they might be like 6-6.
Maybe better than NC State. Don't worry, we prove it every time. All right.
Aren't you guys playing them to open the year next year again?
Oh yeah.
Dude, week 1 next year is going to be one of the best ever. It's fucking amazing.
Team leader, it's a joke, buddy. It's a joke, team leader. I said, really, Dundee? Come on, man. No, but I really believe that East Carolina, maybe not after Mike Houston, but like the program they've been over 30 years.
Once Skip Holtz comes back on board.
Yes.
What is that? No, who's the coach that is responsible for their curse?
Scotty Montgomery.
No.
Oh, Ruffin McNeil. Yeah.
Was he under Holtz, Ruffin McNeil?
No, he was under Leach.
They should bring Skip Holtz in and then hire Ruffin McNeil as one of the coordinators. And then all the mojo would be happening at ECU.
I mean, they make more sense than a lot of other teams in the ACC. That's all I'm saying. But how about NC State putting up 59 points? The Pussy Pack put up 59 on Stanford coming cross country.
Figure it out. I can't.
What the fuck? Their offense has been so bad. Stanford's fucking horrible. We cashed on North Carolina. So I cashed on Syracuse, money line. I cashed on North Carolina.
This was an obvious play.
8 shit on Duke. 8 shit on Clemson.
Florida State 1-8. Florida State. They're going to be 1-9 after they go and get slapped by Notre Dame next week. Then they have Charleston a bye week and then Charleston Southern at home. They get to 2-9 at that point, and then I think Florida probably crushes them, right?
Wait. Against FSU?
Florida State, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they're going to be 2-10.
2-10. Norvell's buyout is $63 million. They can't afford that, can they?
I mean, if they go back to Saudi Arabia, they might be able to.
It's the only way. That's the only way. They got to go to the Shah.
But I think they're already in debt a little bit. And now they have this legal battle, which seems expensive. You know what I mean?
I think they're going to drop that one.
Yeah, well, right now, ECU should take the place of Florida State.
Yeah.
Dude, what is going to happen to Florida State here?
I mean, what do you mean?
Like,
they're going to go 2-10.
I don't, but this is I don't know that I've ever seen such a radical, like, Norvell sucked for a couple years, then boom, catches lightning in a bottle for such a short sample size, and then right back to being maybe their worst year. When's the last time they only won 2 games? Because even Taggart,
I saw this. It's been since I want to say 1973, 74, and 75. 75, I think they went like 4-7, but then 73 and 72, I think they had 1 win each, or 74 and 73. So yeah, it's been like 40 years, and then this will be their 3rd worst year ever if they only finish 2-10 with the early 70s year.
I mean, at this point, you got to really start worrying if they can beat Charleston Southern, who's also 1-7.
You know they're going to get up for that game. You know Charleston Southern's going to show up for that game.
Unbelievable. Mac Brown finally got his win. That was an easy handicap. Let's go.
You've been calling for that one all year.
And then Pitt gets demolished by SMU. I didn't see this one coming. This was 31 to, and they dressed it up. Pitt dressed it up a little bit here. This was 31-3 at the half. I turned it off at that point. I am shocked at how good SMU is, because I can't help but think, and this is why I mean this season's bananas. Like, Nevada should have beat them in the opening game. Nevada should have beaten SMU in the opening game. If you watch that game, SMU pulled that win out of their ass.
Well, I will say this, that Preston Stone, it's the same thing as Jacksonville State. It's like you might think you got your quarterback at the beginning of the year, and then you find out that you're way better with your backup.
Well, it's like when Colorado knocked out Chandler Morris, and then what's his name came in? Max Duggan.
Yeah, exactly. And then all of a sudden you're in the national championship. That's why the college football playoff expanding is important, because if you lose the first game of the fucking season, your season should not be over. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah. Remarkable. Any chance SMU trips up against Virginia, Cal, or Boston College?
I think less likely against Boston College. Certainly a possibility against Cal. Cal's got athletes. And you know what? I actually even think going to Charlottesville is a little bit of a threat, depending on which team shows up for Virginia. Because, again, Calandria is the wild card. So if he balls the fuck out, then it's going to be Jennings. Jennings is so phenomenal at quarterback, but Calandria, when he's playing his best, is also phenomenal. Could be a great shootout.
So then you're setting up SMU potentially. Didn't Rhett Lashley interview for the job that Cristobal got? I can't remember if I'm just full of shit.
Lashley,
he was their OC at Miami under Diaz.
Oh man.
Didn't he? Am I crazy?
I like it. It's Friday Night Lights. Who was the guy that was from Dallas? He was in the book Friday Night Lights. Jesse Armstead, and then he ended up playing at Miami. He played for Dallas Carter, the big bad team in Friday Night Lights, and went to play for UM in their prime. Yeah, Miami and Dallas are 2 primetime ass cities. Dude, how much is SMU's NIL collective about to blow?
I was about to say, let's stop and talk about this, because if SMU goes 11-1 and plays in the ACC championship against Miami, not only do I think they're capable of winning that game, just if you're 11-1 and you lose to Miami, you're still going to make the 12-team playoff. If you have a loss in the ACC championship for your second loss, and it's to a top 5 Miami, and whatever, BYU is already a bowl team. They're what, a 7-0?
Yeah. If your 2 losses are to 2 undefeated teams, and they're fucking close losses.
Well, BYU doesn't even need to be undefeated. To me, if they're 8-4, and you're sitting there, they're going to be in the playoffs, dude. If they lose the bonus game in the ACC championship to Miami, they're going to be in the playoffs.
They're in. Yeah.
What will that do to a university that just sank? They raised $155 million in 31 days, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, this makes me think that they're going to go because they're going to get a bunch of money back from making the playoffs. And it makes me think they're only going to invest more. That you want to talk about the best case scenario for the ACC? It's this happening because they're like, who the fuck? You get SMU rolling, you don't even need Florida State, bro.
Well, yeah, especially for negotiations with Clemson and Florida State, where you can just go, bye, motherfuckers, again,
dude,
win, keep up, and then demand these things. You know,
SMU has more potential than almost like a lot of schools financially. Like they really could be,
and talent wise, Dallas, Texas. I don't know much about the specifics of Texas recruiting. I know Houston has long been considered one of the top 5 nationally in terms of recruiting, but Dallas, you have to figure, is right up there, and TCU has already proven they have, over the past 15 years had national championship contention. Probably how often? Once every like 5 years, TCU's been a national title contender over the last 15 years. Right,
yeah,
because
something like that. Yeah,
they played Boise when they were number 3 or number 4 in the nation back in number 2. For a number of years, TCU was right up there. They just weren't given a chance. And then last year, they break through as a member of the Big 12 and make the national 2 years ago. Right, SMU is right there with them. In fact, maybe even higher. And
I think higher. I think even higher.
We have no idea. We really have no idea what SMU is capable of in this environment. Yeah.
That's why it's so crazy that the Big 12 didn't grab SMU because it would piss off TCU. You're like, who cares? Just go get these guys.
Yeah. By the way, if you guys fucking doubt us on like these cities with the potential, we said this about Cincinnati. We said this about UNLV. These teams,
UCF. Yeah. It's been a proven thing here. Yeah, fascinating. SMU, Miami, getting it done there. Let's talk about the Big 12 because if you were a Colorado Buffalo fan today, I think you are saying this. Look out, just watch him go. Look out, Buffalo. This is my conference. You know this, right? This is my conference.
Yeah.
My whole day was made today because of this fantastic conference. Patty C, I had Texas Tech on the money line. I also backed it up with the 14 points. Texas Tech goes into Ames, wins 23-22. Fuck you, world. Right?
I don't even think it's Colby's team getting back in the mix here that makes him so happy. I think it's the absolute carnage of the Big 12 that makes him so happy.
It's by far out of all the conferences, I dominated here. I took Houston on the money line against Kansas State. I said Willie Fritz's team. I knew Kansas State was a phony Kansas State team too. Willie Fritz, call. His team's getting better.
That's a fucking nice call.
That is. I also bet UCF to destroy Arizona. They destroy Arizona.
Boy, did they. Woo! What was the final on that one?
56-12. 56-12. I mean, call me a Big 12 specialist, but hold on. Back to my Colorado. Since I'm a Buffs fan, a lifelong Buffs fan, not one of the new ones. I know there's a lot of new ones. All right, lifelong Buffs fan.
You ride with both. You ride with the new ones.
All right, if they don't, if they don't know who the fuck Mike Machete is, then they don't talk to me. All right, but Patty C with Texas Tech beating Iowa State. Iowa State gets their first loss in the Big 12. Kansas State loses to Houston. They get their second loss in the Big 12. And they play each other. Iowa State and Kansas State.
Yeah. So
Colorado's in second place in the Big 12 right now.
Well, yeah, they're tied in second place with Kansas State, both with one loss. K-State, or not with Iowa State rather. Kansas State falls to fourth with their second Big 12 loss. You called that this week. You said I can't trust either Iowa State or Kansas State to run the team.
Dude, I'll be honest with you, man, and I love Kansas State and I love Iowa State historically. Like I've dug those programs.
Mm-hmm.
That team was phony this year, man. And look, they still might end up. Kleiman's a great coach. They still might end up.
You're talking about.
Yeah,
they're a good team. But yeah,
they're not as good as normal K-State though, man. Like Avery Johnson's not there. They put all their eggs in. They should have kept Will Howard. Avery Johnson's going to be a great quarterback.
Even Will Howard wouldn't make them what they normally are. Usually they have like real athleticism at the quarterback position.
They also got a little killed though. Like their best corner transferred to Oregon. You know, like or it was a safety, maybe it was safety. They got hit a couple times, but still they don't. I just knew from watching the go back to the Tulane game. I was like, man, they're just not that good this year. They're not like they're solid, but they're not that good. Do we know
what the Big 12 tiebreaker is? Let me see.
But here's another thing, Patty C. By Texas Tech winning today,
they're in it.
No, they're in the race. But I'm saying that's such a great thing for Colorado because I thought that game at Lubbock was going to be such a pain in the ass for Colorado. But now they've just beaten a top 15 team. They're partying their ass off.
Is that next week?
Yes, it's next week in Lubbock, which is
a little bit of a gift. Yeah,
it's a great gift. I mean, they could still lose. Texas Tech's a solid team, but I'm just saying, as a Colorado fan, you sat back and you watched Nebraska lose. So you throw all those things together, and it's just fantastic.
Dude, let me get the standings pulled up here because if I'm not mistaken, Arizona State and Cincinnati are both also 2-loss Big 12 teams. Let me see the standings. Dude, BYU 5-0 at this point, assuming they are able to get through with only one loss at most in the next 3 games. Or no, they have 4 games left. So they're not even a shoo-in to get in. But 5-0 BYU, 4-1 Iowa State and Colorado. Then 2 losses for K-State, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, Arizona State, and West Virginia. It is wide open. It is going to be crazy down the stretch here.
So Iowa State's remaining schedule: home to Cincy, at Utah, home to K-State. Compare that to the Buff schedule. That's what makes this Texas Tech game so fucking huge. If they can just go into Lubbock and get that dub, their remaining schedule after that is home to Utah, at Kansas, but it's not really at Kansas. It's at Arrowhead, and home to Oklahoma State, who looks horrible.
They're not that bad. And Kansas on the road.
What do you mean? Oklahoma State just got waxed today. They're 3-6, Patty C.
What did Oklahoma State do last week? Didn't they fucking really?
They almost beat Baylor. Lost by 10.
Maybe not last week. I feel like Oklahoma State did something relatively recently that was impressive.
The BYU game you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't count any game in the Big 12.
Of course. But I'm saying
things are looking good for Colorado. I think right now it looks like what it really comes down to is if Iowa State can run the table for the rest of the way and end with 1 loss, and Colorado does the same thing, and you have an 11-1 Iowa State and a 10-2 Colorado, who's getting the nod to the Big 12 championship game? There may be some technical tiebreakers. I guess Iowa State would have a head-to-head win over Kansas State, but then who did Iowa just lost?
Well, Colorado would beat Texas Tech though in that scenario.
Right.
Yeah,
right. So there'd be a bunch of tiebreakers that I don't know that there would be any I think it would come down to the polls potentially, and who gets the nod there, especially with Colorado playing as well as they have. I don't know. Flip a coin. But also BYU could potentially. Who does BYU have in the coming weeks?
BYU, they play the Holy War next week. They could definitely lose that game if they're not paying.
Right?
That's the Holy War. It's just the Holy War. You know what I mean? Yeah. They're then home to Kansas. They're at Arizona State, which is a much harder game.
Yeah.
Yes, and then home to Houston and Willie Fritz. Watch out, they're getting better every week.
Big 12 is going to be carnage. Buckle up.
How about Dave Aranda scoring 17 in the 4th, beating TCU 37-34?
Hell of a rivalry win there. Nice job.
He's 5-4. I think they're going to get to a bowl. All he needs 1 win against West Virginia, Houston, or Kansas.
He's going to save his job.
Shout out to Dave Aranda.
Yeah.
Arizona State drilled Oklahoma State 42-21. Arizona State, man, I couldn't be more wrong about a fucking team. Well, actually, yeah, Wyoming. But besides that, Arizona State.
6-2 overall, 3-2 in conference, and very much alive for the Big 12.
Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Shout out to them Devils. Devils Digest. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea. I don't even want to ask you the question. What's the Big 12 championship game look like?
I think right now I'm going to say Colorado, BYU. What do you got?
That would be just amazing from a culture clash.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
Tiddlyastic.
Fantastic for the sport.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't want to jinx my buff, so let's go. Let's go. Iowa State still gets in. They win
BYU.
out. Iowa State, BYU. But
I can't think of a more traditionally boring game than that. But whatever. Let's get used to it. The Big 12. Yeah, some of these teams are going to become sexy once they start winning the Big 12. It's got to happen at some point.
Other games going on that I just got a note on. I know we got to get out of here soon, but UTSA beat Memphis. I was on UTSA. They beat them outright, and they kind of whooped their ass.
Yeah. Memphis now out of the AAC championship picture. What a shocker!
Silverfish, you extended them. You extended them. I don't know why, but you extended them, Memphis. Toledo, Eastern Michigan was a wild one. That was a wild ass game. Eastern Michigan was up for majority of this game. They went into the fourth, Patty C, with a 19-7 lead, right?
How the fuck do you end up losing?
No, get this. They then give up 22 unanswered. And then on the final play of the game, they complete a 38-yard touchdown to tie it, but they go for 2 in the win, and they don't get it. What an insane game. Action is so underrated, man. This game should have been a weekday game because this game was fucking insane.
I guess if you've given up 22 points in the fourth quarter, you go for 2 even though you're at home. But generally speaking, if you're at home, you play for overtime, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I would have went for. I mean, they were the better team all get, like, with the exception of one quarter.
Yeah.
I this is where I disagree with Creighton. I think you play for overtime.
Don't leave it to one play.
Yeah.
Play in, play out like you just did and got the better of them for most of the game.
Buffalo took down Akron, even though the line stunk. Pete Lembo grabs win 5 for the Bulls. He's having a good year. Dude, I know you tweeted this out. What the fuck happened in the UAB Tulsa game besides John Kitna Jr., whatever the fuck his name is? Is it Jalen Kitna? Threw for 404 yards.
Wait, what conferences?
They're both in the AAC.
They're AAC. Okay. Let me get over to that. Yeah, that was wild. That was absolutely wild. 45. I think it ended up being 45-7 at half.
And that should have been my win for the over.
Wait,
Instead, they give up 60. Just about.
Was this the Kitna that got like falsely accused, or I don't know if it was falsely accused?
No, I think he got arrested for kitty porn or some shit in his computer.
Porn.
Wasn't he like 18? I'm like, what does that even mean? Does that mean like a? I didn't do a deep dive on the story. You know what I mean? Like, what does he got?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If it's 16-year-olds and you're 18, we should just stop talking about this. But like, either way, he was acquitted.
Yeah. And he's now throwing for over 400 yards a game in college football. All right. UAB and Trent Dilfer grabbed their second win of the season. I cashed on App State outright as a 3-point dog. They beat ODU 28-20.
Hell of a win.
Get it done. Go to 4-4. They're still alive to get to the Sun Belt Championship. ULM loses to Marshall by 5. Marshall finds a way. Marshall might be in the Sun Belt championship. I got no fucking idea. The Sun Belt
Marshall
is
only
wacky.
one loss. Yeah.
You locked
Marshall,
up Coastal. They lost to Troy. I mean,
son of a bitch.
what do you make of this Sun Belt?
What I make of it is that JMU had a very bad weekend in terms of results. We needed Coastal to win, and we needed Georgia Southern to lose.
No, Southern won. Southern came back and won.
No, they lost. That's what I'm saying. We needed them to lose.
Oh, yeah, but they scored 20 in the fourth. Georgia Southern scored 20 in the fourth to come back and win by 4. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
They have to because I think Coastal would have given us the opportunity at a 3-way tie. And then but that's gone now because Coastal lost again. They're 1-3 in the Sun Belt. And then Georgia Southern has the head-to-head on us, so we need them to lose 2 more games out of their next 3. We're fucked. Georgia Southern is probably going to the championship. Yeah.
Is this the man that wrecked the buffet at the Herald Club today? Shout out to Jefferson, who knows what I'm talking about, or he's obviously tweeting that, or whatever the fuck. Great line. How did I lock up UTEP today? Yeah, that was my worst play. NC Nick laughed at me. He doesn't normally laugh at my picks. I believed that Scotty Walden's trajectory was going in the right direction. It was. I thought that, and I thought Middle Tennessee was a mess. They got players quitting in the middle of the season, transferring. So I ate shit on it. It was a horrible play by me. I have no excuses. And yeah. Wyoming, New Mexico game was ridiculous. Wyoming made 149-45.
Yeah. Where did the offense come from out of the blue from both of these teams?
What happened here?
Well, let me check something real quick. In terms of points per game, I'm very curious where both these typically score. Wyoming, 18 points per game. That's number 124 in the nation. And Nevada, number 91 in the nation with 25 points per game. Both of those teams scoring over 20 points per 20 points higher than they typically score. Whatever it is. What was the final on this one?
49-45. Arena football in Albuquerque.
Wyoming gets it done. Very nice.
Unbelievable. I want someone, Patty C. How many times have we said in the studio? When I say we, I mean me. How many times have I said that the amount of weather delays that happen in college football today compared to life?
Yeah.
These didn't happen. This didn't happen in the 90s. So like you see all these weather delays and I go, this is bullshit. I don't believe that these weather delays they
happened in the plains today, right? The K-State game,
yes,
Iowa State
but hang on, because I have said this. I put for years in a studio when we're watching, especially the past couple of years. I go, this is bullshit. These are teams electing not to play and using it in the name of safety, and it's bullshit. Well, guess what? Today I was proven right.
How so?
Because Houston beat Kansas State, and Rice is located in Houston. Rice and Navy did not play, and they're like, what, 10 minutes away? If you've been, they're in the same city.
Yeah.
Rice got a 5-hour delay. This is bullshit. This is my point. It's always been bullshit, and it just suddenly popped up, and it's become a thing. And because football, I'm sure the CTE bullshit that comes in there.
A really good fucking point.
I'm telling you that I've been right all along. It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any fucking sense. And you can't tell me.
Let me Google map this. Because what is it?
I'm guessing 15 minutes. Give me 15 minutes between Houston University and Rice University. Google map this thing right now.
Rice Stadium and Houston. What is Houston football stadium?
It's like TCEDU Stadium or something like that. It's some bullshit company. But
Houston. All right, that they are 15 minutes apart. And
I feel like Joe
4.6
Pesci.
miles.
I feel like Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny, where he's like just talking shit to the whole jury. Right? I rest my
Walking
case.
around just like,
Yeah,
fuck it.
I rest my fucking
Dude,
case.
It's 4.6 miles, like with a two turn route. So if you take the whatever that thing is called, the quadrilateral angle. I don't know what the fuck it's called.
Wait.
Hypotenuse. If you take the hypotenuse, it's probably like 3 miles apart.
I don't get the brain man cold, but the cat.
Look, it's been a while since I've done any math.
This doesn't make any sense, though. Honestly, this is my point. How I knew it was bullshit before. I knew there was just too many games. I was like, wait, I watched this sport, and granted, we didn't have the quad box. But we had the old school thing where you bring grandma's television into the living room, right? You actually bring anyone you know. You have your friends from 4 houses down, bring their TV in, and we're watching pretty much a similar amount of games. And I never recall like there was a game last season, or a Saturday last season, where you had like I felt like the whole country was on a weather delay. And I was like, what the hell is this? It's impossible. It's impossible. I was proven right today. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit because Houston plays a game, they win. Navy Rice waits hours.
They're both outdoors.
Yes. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
3 miles.
I've always known it's bullshit.
Flies.
I've always known it's bullshit. And so all those other games, I want an apology. That I can't help but think of that Iowa State tornado game. It was like a 20-hour delay, right? I want a damn apology. Rice won that game too. Poor Navy had to wait for sitting over there, coming in from Maryland, sitting over there watching. They're probably in the hotel room watching Houston play, saying, "What the fuck is this?" I don't even. I mean, yeah, I'm mad because I lost money on it. But
who the Vegas saw that one coming because that line was creeping down, and when it started at 14. I forget who it was in the chat or on Twitter pointing out to us that the line was coming down, but clearly Vegas knew something we didn't. Maybe it was the rain, but still, you would figure a run happy attack for
the
Navy.
only thing I can think of is you pitch the ball a lot, so maybe you fumble more.
Still,
yeah,
it's so like exact by. Vegas
and you're the Navy. You're supposed to be don't they do a week of practices in the water?
Yeah. You go underwater, you got fucking 10-degree weather. This is nothing.
Team leader saying it has to do with school leadership. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's just we've lost our fucking minds because I just don't believe it's possible to have this many lightning delays in one season. I don't believe it. I just don't.
It's strategic. It's the administrative equivalent of telling a player to lay on the ground. So you don't burn a timeout.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it is. It is. What else happened on the Group of 5 front? Norvell won the Norvell Bowl, 38-21. I got that picked. I didn't bet that, but I picked that incorrectly. And I think, Hawaii Fresno was a wild one because Fresno was up what? I think like 20 to 7.
Wow, Hawaii won this one.
Scored 14 in the fourth, and Tim Skipper just got himself fired. So, in my opinion, I think they will go out and hire. I told you my prediction. Ryan Grubb.
Any chance
Ryan Grubb.
Tedford comes back?
No, but they'll go to him and he'll say hire Ryan Grubb, who used to be his offensive coordinator in OC.
Where's Grubb now?
Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
He became Alabama's offensive coordinator for like a day. Then the Seahawks hired him because he followed DeBoer. He was with Washington last year. He was their OC. Fresno's going to go and hire. Let's go. I'm just talking out of my ass, but I'm saying it's my prediction.
I mean, if he was part of what Fresno had done before, would not be a bad hire.
Yeah. You're right. We covered every game. See, that's how we do it in less than 2 hours. Patty C, what was the biggest win of the day?
Well, clearly Ohio State, because without that, they were fringe playoff. But now they're smack dab in the conversation again, and potentially the top seed in the playoff because they beat Indiana and then they beat Oregon. the SEC champ is going to have one loss no matter what. And if they're the one-loss Big Ten champion, it's a decent chance for the one seed in the playoffs. So amazing win, or a huge win for Ohio State. Other than that, I don't know. The entire Colorado, without even playing, benefited huge today.
Yeah, big time win for them. Yeah. Shout out to Pissing Pavia. All right, Vandy's bowling.
Hell yeah.
Indiana, Signetti. They're hosting Michigan next week. Unbelievable.
Let's go.
Unbelievable.
Let's fucking go. They should put game day in.
I want them to win the national championship, dude.
I don't think it's out of the question. I'm not gonna lie. If the matchups happen correctly, I don't think it's out of the question.
Daniel's asking a good question. Is Boise a lock for the group of 5? Well, Army did win, by the way, and Air Force covered for me, which I did bet. But
Boise is not a lock for the group of 5 because if Army beats Notre Dame,
yeah, because Army's still undefeated. Shout out to R. Wright giving us $25. SMU is the big winner today too.
True,
that's true. With Clemson losing, unbelievable. So Patty, see if you had to do 12 teams, right? That's what I'm saying. If you had to do 12 teams,
let's rattle them. Let me.
Who's your winner? ACC winner. I think SMU can beat Miami. I'll take SMU to beat Miami.
Nah, I think Miami beats SMU. But there may be some foul play.
Do both get in? Do both get in for you?
As long as SMU wins out, then yes. So I'll say.
Do you think they do win out?
Yeah,
Cal, Boston College, Virginia, Cal.
I think they should. I think they should go in 11-1 and make the playoff. Yeah.
I'm with you. I think they will, regardless of. So even if they lose to Miami, I think both will get in. Will Miami go undefeated? They could lose at Syracuse. They could still lose at Syracuse, but
they could. But
I think they're probably going to go undefeated.
Yeah. Yep. So 13-0 Miami, that might push them up to number 1 by the end of the year. Although them being currently undefeated and down at number 5 suggests they don't have a ton of respect from the AP at the very
Well, they don't
least.
have a top 25 win.
Yeah, so maybe they don't deserve it. Either way, they will certainly be in the top 4 with an undefeated record.
Okay,
Miami,
so wait, that's 2. So we're down to 10 teams then.
Yeah.
So 10 teams. Is Notre Dame in? Does Notre Dame beat USC and Army?
Notre Dame does beat both.
And Florida State.
Yeah, Notre Dame's in. Yep.
So Notre Dame's in. You're down to 9 teams.
Much as I want Army to be it after what Notre Dame did in Navy, I have to say, I think it's going to be way closer than that. But
yeah, I think Army's been better than Navy.
Yeah.
And I also think Navy shot themselves in the foot so much. I think Army's more explosive. Right?
I think it's going to be I think Army could win that game. But right now I'll favor Notre Dame close.
So then that would put Boise in. So Boise would knock it down to 8. So now you have 8 teams. You've done ACC/fringe ACC with Notre Dame and Boise. Okay, get the Big 12 team out of there.
Big 10 and the SEC will send 7 between the two of them. I think it'll be 4 Big 10, 3 SEC.
So wait a second. You're telling me if BYU goes 11-1 and plays Colorado or whoever you have in the Big 12 championship.
Well, the fact that fucking Notre Dame is in there does present a problem for maybe they knock someone out. But yeah, I think it really should probably be two Big 12 teams in there too.
Well, it could be. It doesn't mean there will be. It just could. Like if Iowa State wins out the rest and plays BYU.
If they have 2 1-loss teams, then yeah, I think both 1-loss teams for the Big 12 are getting in. But I think there's probably going to be more carnage than that. And any 2-loss Big 12 team is going to be on the outside looking in when there's 2-loss teams from other conferences. So assuming that happens, it's probably 1 Big 12 team.
So let's just say, so who do you got? Who wins the Big 12? BYU to you?
BYU is probably the best team. I think Colorado is playing great football. And if they find themselves in, they could win that game. That game is being played in Vegas, right?
Yes. No, Arlington.
Right?
Yeah.
Same difference. This is in a dome.
Well, no, that Deion would have the crowd.
Yeah, that's true. Dallas. That's a toss-up between BYU and Colorado at this point. I'll say BYU just because they haven't lost yet. But
that knocks it down to 7, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're at 7 teams left
With the SEC and the Big Ten. So
and Washington State. Is Washington State 11-1 on the outside?
They're not getting any love from anyone.
How the fuck, if they go 11-1, they have to be in. They have a better loss than Notre Dame, and by far, their loss would be to Boise State, a playoff team on their turf.
Who would Notre Dame's best win be?
A&M, but that got worse today.
That's still a good win. But who's their second best one? I feel like Notre Dame.
Louisville.
It's not that good of a skit. Not. But here's the thing: is that Wazoo? Who's their best one?
Texas Tech and Washington, who both won today.
So they're 2 decent wins. They'll give Notre Dame the nod at 11-1 over Wazoo at 11-1.
Dude, if Wazoo goes 11-1 and doesn't get in, I'm gonna burn down something.
It'll be some horse shit. What they really need is like Penn State to catch a second loss or Indiana to lose to Michigan and Ohio State.
Wait, if Notre Dame gets in with a loss to Northern Illinois at home, who is 4-4, over at 11-1 Washington State, who has a loss at Boise State, I'm gonna lose my fucking mind.
Yeah. Notre Dame's other big win, which was over Navy, looks a whole lot worse after Rice stomped Navy today. So yeah, Notre Dame, but it's Notre Dame. If Notre Dame's 11-1, don't even fucking question it. They're in the playoff. It doesn't matter. Cry all you want. It is what it is.
No, that's just ridiculous.
But if I had to predict,
good luck explaining that, committee.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think out of the Big Ten, you got the 4 teams that currently look like they're going to be in big.
But you only have 7 spots, so only 3 SEC then.
Only 3 SEC. I think it'll be Georgia, probably. Like I said, maybe Tennessee or Ole Miss, one of those 2, and then the winner of the Texas A&M game at the end of the season gets in.
Wow, fascinating.
You agree, or what do you think?
I think SEC will get 4, Big Ten will get 3.
Man, but then what? Fucking, do you think Indiana will beat Michigan at home next week?
I do.
Okay, so they're going to have 1 loss, assuming they lose to Ohio State on the road. Ohio State will have 1 loss through the end of the regular season, not counting the conference championship game. We're going to be undefeated, and then fucking Penn State will have 1 loss. Who are you keeping out? None. You're not keeping any of those teams out.
Oh man, but Indiana's schedule, they'll make up something, right? I've seen this charade before. Shout out to FBI Tugboat. I hope you guys talked about my Gamecocks. We did. Great win for you. And he goes, he just caught CJ Sullivan, the bet detective at Wise Guys. Appreciate you tuning into this show, but also CJ Sullivan. That's my guy. Check out the Bottom Line Balls podcast and check out his stand-up. He's fucking hilarious. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow night. College basketball. We have like 100 game slate for Monday. Buckle up. All right. Guess what happens if you go 29-2 in college basketball? You automatically make the NCAA tournament. Automatically.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you should.
Just to compare it, Washington State at 11-1 should be in every fucking time.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Yeah. If 11-1 against a largely Mountain West fringe power conference schedule can't get you in the playoff, there's a problem with the playoff. It needs to expand it even further. Yeah. So
anyway, it's going to be fascinating. We'll be back talking all of it. We're back to our normal schedule. I apologize for the some of the podcasts didn't come out. I was traveling. Back to the normal schedule here. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. Give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColeBD. The College Football Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Please, if you can, subscribe to the College Basketball Experience. Starting tomorrow, we are talking about every single college basketball game that is played this season. We've done this for years. Check it out. Yes, the College Basketball Experience is back. It feels great to be back. I did a little episode on SGP today. Talked it on radio yesterday. We're home. All right, so tune into that. Tomorrow night, we're going live. Till next time, folks, this is the College Football Experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Run and shoot.